Hello and welcome. Millions of Social Security checks are about to go out this January, starting on January the 14th, but not everyone is getting paid what they expect or how much they thought they were going to get. And I know that can be really frustrating, especially when you're counting on that money to pay your bills, to buy groceries, to cover your medication costs. So I am going to bring you updates on Social Security payments for January and what recipients are going to get. Most importantly, the 2026 Social Security increases are going to kick in on this check. I want to bring you the latest on that because this is the first time you're going to see that cost of living adjustment actually hit your bank account. And I want to make sure you understand exactly what to expect. Plus, President Trump is in the news again. He said he's going to issue $2,000 tariff stimulus checks. And I know a lot of you have heard a lot about this and are probably tired of hearing about it because you want to know when the check is going to hit your account. You don't want to hear more promises. You don't want to hear more speculation. You want to know the actual date when you can expect to see that money. Well, the president did an interview with the New York Times and provided an update on when the check could be issued. I am going to bring you the latest on that, and I'm also going to share my thoughts about what this timeline really means and whether we should be taking this seriously or not. My name is Wami Quad. I am a government benefits expert. For 15 years, I've been helping seniors get the retirement benefits they deserve. And over those 15 years, I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of promises made and broken, and I've helped thousands and thousands of seniors navigate this complicated system that we call Social Security and Medicare. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I am glad you're here. Do me a quick favor and go into the comment section and let me know your city and your state. I love hearing from you. I love knowing where you're watching from, and it helps me understand what issues are affecting seniors in different parts of the country. If you've been watching this channel for a while, welcome back. I am glad you're here. And be sure to watch this video to the end because you have an opportunity to win a $100 Amazon gift card by filling out an important survey where I am trying to understand how you are living in retirement right now and what you want to say to Congress about your retirement and what they can do to help you where you are right now. And I'm going to be reading some of those responses in this video, and I have to tell you, some of them are heartbreaking. Some of them really show the struggle that seniors are going through right now. So stay tuned for that. So let's dive into the first news story, which is the Social Security payment schedule for January. Now, the first round of Social Security checks are going to be up to $5,251. Now, I know when you hear that number, you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot of money. But here's the reality. The maximum benefit goes to those who have waited until age 70 to retire and have paid the maximum into the system for 35 years. So we're talking about people who earned at or above the Social Security wage base for their entire working career and then waited all the way until age 70 to start collecting. That's a very small percentage of retirees. Most people don't fall into that category. Now, if your full retirement age is this year and you've paid the maximum into Social Security, you're going to get $4,152. That's still a really good benefit. But again, you have to have maxed out your earnings for 35 years to get that. However, if you retired early at age 62 and you paid the maximum into Social Security, your check is going to be $2,169, almost $3,000. And this is important to understand because a lot of people retire at 62, and when you retire early, your benefit is permanently reduced. So even if you earned the maximum your whole life, by taking it at 62, you're getting significantly less than if you had waited. But the average Social Security check for all retired people who are getting Social Security benefits is $1,271. That's the average. Of course, a lot of you are making more, and some of you are making less than that, and I'm going to talk about that. That is an increase of $56 from last year. So the 2026 cost of living adjustment worked out to about $56 per month for the average beneficiary. Now, I know that might not sound like a lot when you think about how much everything costs these days. Groceries are up, utilities are up, gas is up, medication costs are up. So $56 might feel like it doesn't go very far, and I hear that from a lot of you. But that's the reality of the COLA that we got for 2026. One big news I want to tell you before I go to the payment dates is that the full retirement age for Social Security is going up to age 67 for anybody that is born 1960 or later. So if you were born in 1960 or any year after that, your full retirement age is 67. That's the age at which you can collect your full benefit without any reduction. You can still retire at 62, but your benefit will be reduced. And if you wait until 70, your benefit will be increased. But 67 is your full retirement age if you were born in 1960 or later. So let's talk about the actual dates when you're going to get your money, because I know that's what a lot of you are really waiting to hear. You may already know this, but if you're new to Social Security, or if you're just not familiar with how the payment schedule works, let me break it down for you. Social Security and disability SSDI payments are paid on a specific schedule based on your birthday. So if your birthday is between the 1st and the 10th of the month, you get your benefits on the second Wednesday of the month. If your birthday is between the 11th and the 20th, you get your benefits on the third Wednesday of the month. And if your birthday is between the 21st and the 31st, your Social Security or SSDI check comes in on the fourth Wednesday of the month. Now, if you're on SSI, Supplemental Security Income, the rules are a little bit different. You are paid on the first of the month unless the first is a weekend or a holiday, in which case you get paid on the last business day of the previous month. Plus, if you fall within one of the four categories of people that I'm about to talk about, your payments are made on the third of the month. If you live outside the United States, if you receive both Social Security and SSI, if your state pays for your Medicare premiums, or you filed for Social Security before May 1997, you get your check on the third of the month. So those are four specific categories that get paid on a different schedule than everyone else. So let's talk about the actual Social Security payment dates for January 2026. So if you were born between the 1st and the 10th of the month, your payment is coming this week on January the 14th. And I want to make sure that you understand that this is the updated Social Security payment that has your 2026 increase in there. This is the first check that's going to reflect that cost of living adjustment. So you should see a little bit more money in your account than you saw in December. And so let's talk about that. January the 14th is the first Social Security check that's coming out, and it's for those whose birthday is between the 1st and the 10th, and it is including your cost of living increase. January 21st is for those who are born between the 11th and the 20th. So if your birthday falls in that range, you're going to get your check next week on the 21st, and January the 28th is for those born between the 21st and the 31st of the month. So the last week of January, if your birthday is in the last part of the month, that's when you'll get your payment. Now let's talk about SSI and SSDI and some of the special payment situations. So if you were receiving Supplemental Security Income benefits, SSI benefits, you are paid on the first of the month. But since the first New Year's Day was a holiday, you should have received your check on the 31st Wednesday, the 31st of December. So if you're on SSI, you should have already gotten your January payment at the end of December. And for those who live outside the United States, who receive both Social Security and SSI, who have their state paying their Medicare premiums, and those who filed for Social Security before May 1997, you should have gotten your check on Friday, January the 3rd. Actually, let me correct that. You should have gotten your check on Friday, January the 2nd, because January the 3rd is a weekend, and Social Security does not pay benefits on the weekend. The Social Security Administration always pays you early if your payment date falls on a weekend or a holiday. They never pay you late. They always pay you early. If you did not get your check, stay tuned. I'm going to tell you what to do in just a second. And also SSI recipients, remember you got your check on December the 31st, so you are going to get another check on Friday, January the 31st, because February the 1st falls on the weekend. And so make sure that you plan accordingly, because then you're not going to see another check until March. So you got a payment at the end of December, you're getting a payment at the end of January, and then you're going to have to wait all the way through February before you get your next payment in March. So if you're on SSI, you need to budget very carefully for the month of February, because there's no payment coming in February. If you don't receive your Social Security check when you're supposed to, if it doesn't hit your account on the day that you're expecting it, Here's what you need to do. Make an appointment with Social Security. Call them at 1-800-772-1213. That's 1-800-772-1213. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Getting through to Social Security can be really difficult. The wait times can be long. You might be on hold for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, sometimes even an hour. But you need to call them and find out what's going on with your payment. You may be in an overpayment situation. Social Security does take a chunk of your check or take a percentage of your check, depending on what benefits you're getting, if you owe the Social Security Administration money because of an overpayment issue. And overpayments are becoming more and more common. Sometimes it's because of an error on Social Security's part. Sometimes it's because someone didn't report income when they should have. Sometimes it's because of a change in living situation or marital status that affected benefits. Whatever the reason, if you're in an overpayment situation, Social Security can withhold part or all of your benefit until that overpayment is paid back. So that may be something that may apply to you. So make sure that you reach out to the Social Security Administration and deal with that. Don't ignore it. Don't put it off, because these overpayment situations don't go away on their own. So that is the first thing I wanted to talk about today, which is the Social Security payment schedule. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section. I read all the comments. I try to respond to as many as I can, and your questions help me understand what videos I need to make next. So as you may be familiar, for some of you, I've introduced a section where I am sharing stories from seniors about how they are living in retirement. And so this is your opportunity to share your story. If you want to share your story, I'll tell you in a second how to do that. But I want to read a few of them to you because I am really excited to be receiving these stories of what seniors are thinking about what's happening and importantly, what they want to tell Congress about what Congress needs to do to help seniors that are struggling currently. These stories are powerful. These stories are real. And I think it's important that we give seniors a voice because too often your voices are not being heard. So here is one person that said, I would ask if they could live on $1,200 a month and pay a mortgage, electric, water, and gas bill. Not to mention the necessities needed to survive, such as toilet paper, cleaning products, food, lawn upkeep, house upkeep, car insurance, house insurance, property taxes, garbage pickup. This is my daunting task every single month. Unbelievable. So this is a story that we received from one of the people that filled out the survey and shared what they would tell Congress if they could talk to Congress right now about what they can do to help seniors. And when you really think about it, $1,200 a month, try to make that work. Try to pay for all of those things on $1,200 a month. It's nearly impossible. Here's another one. You people have been extremely self-centered because you have plenty to live on. He's talking about Congress here. And you don't seem to give a damn about us poor folks who are in this situation through no fault of ours. If you cared, you would have taken care of the Social Security problems and lack a long time ago. But you don't care as long as you receive your paychecks and can enjoy your lives. You can't even begin to imagine what many of us go through and how we cannot afford to even pay our rent or buy groceries or live at a comfortable temperature due to high electric bills. It seems like you never ever even consider what we have to go through. If each of you would simply give up 10% of your income, you could be a tremendous help to those of us who cannot afford to take care of ourselves and needs. Shame on you. So that is another senior sharing his or her opinion about what's happening and what they would like to tell Congress about how they can help. And you can feel the frustration in that response. You can feel the anger, and honestly, I think it's justified. Because members of Congress, they have health insurance, they have good salaries, they have retirement benefits. And meanwhile, seniors who worked their whole lives are struggling to pay for basic necessities. Here's another one. I worked 50 plus years and now live in poverty with $996 monthly. I am 76 with health problems, live alone, and cannot work. Think about that. 50 years of work and now living on less than $1,000 a month at age 76 with health problems. That is not the retirement that person worked 50 years for. That is not the American dream. Here's another one. The big, beautiful bill in Congress did not include a large Social Security check every month for those of us who fall at or below poverty line. In general, we need several hundreds a month more in our checks to even try to keep up with inflation. Why did you forget about us in this bill? And that's a great question. Congress just passed a big tax bill. They made changes to the standard deduction. They made changes to all kinds of things. But where was the help for Social Security recipients who are struggling? And then the last one, which is a little bit longer, but I wanted to show this to you because it really captures the frustration that so many seniors are feeling. Since those of us who have worked all our lives for Social Security, we should not be penalized for money that is no longer there or may not be there. We didn't ask the government to take Social Security out of the paychecks, and then when you got old enough to draw it for them, to tell us there is no more. I just don't believe it's fair to keep raising the retirement age. It was 62, then 65, then 67. Now they want to raise it to 70. I believe people want to retire. They want to live before they get too old to live. You are making it so people never retire. They die before they retire. This seems to be the plan. I can say so much more. It is very frustrating. I make $1,010 per month. I pay $550 per month for rent. I have electric, gas, water, cell phone, car insurance, life insurance. I also have to eat every month. Unfortunately, I have to rob Peter to pay Paul every single month. And on top of that, I have to pay co-pays for doctors and prescriptions. Sometimes I have to cancel a doctor's appointment because I don't have money to pay for a copay. It's extremely hard to live with not enough money to live on. Guys, these stories are heartbreaking, but I want you to keep them coming because I want to read them out. And at the end, I'm going to release and publish the results of all the surveys, all the results that I've received. So if you want to get your voice heard, if you want your voice heard and you want Congress to hear what you have to say, go to the comment section of this video or go into the description of this video, scroll down, you'll see the link to fill out the survey. It doesn't take a long time. It's just a few minutes, and you will put yourself on record because I want to make sure that what I know to be happening, everybody knows, because your voices need to be heard. Your stories need to be told. And right now, I don't think your stories are being told in Washington. I don't think members of Congress understand what you're going through. So your voices will now be put out in a press release to all news organizations for them to know what is exactly happening. Go to the comments and go to the description to this video and fill out that survey. Now, if you want to stay on top of everything that I'm doing, every update that I have in and out of Congress that could affect your benefits, then text the word INSIDER to 443-293-0080. You will join thousands of seniors that are getting 1 or 2 text messages from me each week, letting you know about critical updates that you need to be aware of that could affect your benefits and your retirement. I only send important updates. I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to send you stuff every single day. But when there's something important happening that you need to know about, you'll get a text from me. Again, text the word INSIDER to 443-293-0080. All that information will be in the description and in the comments to this video. The second thing I want to talk about is tariffs. The tariff dividend, the $2,000 tariff dividend that President Trump has promised. I want to talk about that because he's made news again. And honestly, I'm getting a little frustrated with this whole situation because the timeline keeps changing. So I'm going to share my screen and tell you what he's talking about because he did an interview with the New York Times recently, and here's what he has to say. So it says, and I want to make sure that you can see this on your screen. Yes, you can. So it says, President Donald Trump has an updated timeline of when he expects his proposed $2,000 stimulus checks to be sent to Americans. In an interview with the New York Times, Trump said he will not need congressional approval for the checks fueled by revenue collected from his sweeping tariffs to come to fruition. When asked when Americans can see the funds hitting their wallets, he replied, I would say towards the end of the year. Now, guys, this is the frustrating part to this, and let me explain why I'm frustrated. First, it was supposed to be by the end of December 2025. Remember, he promised this before the election. He promised it during the election, and then after he took office, he said it would be by the end of December. That didn't happen. And then the president said again that it is going to be the middle of next year, so middle of 2026, and now it's towards the end of next year, towards the end of 2026. What is happening towards the end of next year? We have congressional elections. The midterm elections are in November 2026. So Is this something that the president is just stringing us along for, a check that is never going to come, or a check that is going to be timed perfectly right before the elections to help his party in the midterms because he promised it at the end of December, and now he's telling seniors to wait another year in order to get it? I want to hear your thoughts about that. Let me know in the comments section what you feel about this. Do you think this check is really going to happen? Do you think we're being played? Do you think this is political? I want to know what you think. His new update is a slight delay from his previous deadline of probably mid-2026 or shortly thereafter. Exactly, that is the date that I reported to you before, mid-2026 or shortly thereafter, and now it's the end of 2026. So the timeline keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. Trump first proposed the idea of a rebate check in November, saying that the payment will be reserved for low and middle-income Americans. The White House has not offered specific guidelines for who exactly will qualify. And that's another problem. We don't know who's going to get this money. Is it based on income? Is it based on age? Is it based on whether you filed taxes? We don't have any details. In his announcement, Trump floated that any leftover money could be put towards helping pay down the national debt of $36 trillion. So he's saying we're going to send out these checks, and whatever's left over we'll use to pay down the debt. Now, according to the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, a nonprofit think tank in Washington, a new round of stimulus checks will cost $600 billion. That's billion with a B, $600 billion, to send $2,000 checks to all Americans or to low and middle income Americans. The United States collected $195 billion in tariff revenue, $195 billion in tariff revenue in fiscal year that ended September 30th, a final monthly statement from the Department of Treasury revealed. So that's even the money that's coming in from tariffs would not be enough to do it. In the most recent year, we collected $195 billion in tariffs. He's proposing to send out $600 billion in checks. So where is the other $400 billion going to come from? So I don't know where he's going to get the money from. And here is the kicker. A looming Supreme Court decision on the legality of the tariffs imposed on trading partners could also derail the president's plan. So there's a case working its way through the courts right now challenging whether the president even has the authority to impose these tariffs in the way that he's doing it. And if the Supreme Court rules against him, then the whole thing falls apart because the tariffs might go away, which means the tariff revenue goes away, which means there's no money for these checks. So that's the update. End of next year is when President Trump is thinking about sending the stimulus check. But he said he doesn't need congressional approval, which is news to me. And so I will keep an eye on that for you because it is totally surprising that he's saying that he doesn't need Congress to send that kind of money, $600 billion, on his own. I don't think I have seen anything like that before where the president has authority to send that kind of money to the general public without congressional approval. If you know any different, if you understand the law better than I do, let me know in the comments section below. But as far as I understand it, Congress controls the purse strings. Congress has to appropriate money. The president can't just decide to send out $600 billion on his own. And then, guys, we are in a very interesting season right now. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I have made a promise this year to help 100,000 seniors get peace of mind about Medicare. And that is something that I am taking seriously because I have reasons for this. I've seen too many seniors get into the wrong Medicare plan and then struggle with high costs. Doctors dropping them, medications not being covered. It's a mess out there. Here's the thing. Let me ask you something. Does Medicare feel more confusing and expensive than it used to be? Well, you are not imagining it. Premiums and out-of-pocket costs are climbing faster than Social Security checks, which means that the money left over for groceries, utilities, and medication you actually need becomes less and less. And so a lot of seniors are struggling to deal with that reality. Because of that, every year, Medicare gets more expensive and Social Security cost of living adjustments don't keep up with those increases. And so here's what I'm saying to you. Some Medicare plans that looked perfect on paper are now dropping doctors and hospitals without warning. People are finding out after they enroll that their longtime doctor isn't covered anymore. They've been seeing the same doctor for 10, 15, 20 years, and then they get a letter saying, sorry, your doctor is no longer in network. Even Medicare.gov's website, their own provider directory, has had errors, plenty of errors that people have reported. So you go on Medicare.gov, you look up your doctor, it says your doctor is in the plan, you enroll, and then you find out your doctor is actually not covered, so you can do everything right. Here's the kicker. You can do everything right and still end up in the wrong Medicare plan. In fact, 90% of seniors are in the wrong Medicare plan as a result. That's not my number. That's from industry research. 9 out of 10 seniors could be in a better plan than the one they're in. That's exactly why we've partnered with Chapter Medicare. They are a national Medicare advisor that does not push one type of plan. They don't work for one insurance company. They compare every option that is available in your area based on your specific doctors, your prescriptions, and budget. And on average, they've helped seniors save around $1,100 a year on Medicare costs. That's real money. That's money you could be using for other things. And the best part, here it is. Their guidance is completely free and unbiased. No sales pressure, just a clear answer in plain language to your question. So, if you're worried about your premiums, Medicare premiums, or worried about losing coverage or for your doctors to be dropped, or you're turning 65 and feeling overwhelmed about Medicare, then call Chapter today at 539-205-2147. That's 539-205-47. Guys, these guys are the real deal. We've been working with them, and over 5,000 of our viewers have called Chapter and gotten that peace of mind that I'm talking about. So the call takes about 20 minutes, and you deserve to know that you are not overpaying for health care. You've earned that Social Security check. Make sure that Medicare does not take more of it than it should. So call Chapter today at 539-205-2147, and you would not be disappointed. All right, so lastly, if you have been paying attention to my channel, you know that we've released a magazine, and I wish I had the paper copy here. I think I moved it to another side of my table, so I don't have it with me right now, but we have a magazine now, and this is the first edition of our Senior First magazine, and as we say that we put seniors first, this is one of the ways we are putting seniors first by bringing you a magazine that is full of value, of things that you should know about that will help you live well during this retirement. So we have a digital copy you can buy. I'll put the link in the comments and in the description. And let me tell you, we've worked on this for a very long time, and finally it's here. We've put together articles on Medicare, on Social Security, on tax planning, on estate planning, on health and wellness, on financial planning. It's everything you need to know to navigate retirement successfully. So get your copy of our first edition of our Senior First magazine. You would not be disappointed. So guys, that is all I have to share with you today. If you like what you heard, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, call Chapter Medicare, and make sure that you are getting that peace of mind about Medicare that I've been talking about, because you deserve confidence that your Medicare plan is going to serve you well this year. So guys, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so that you'll be the first to know when I release a new video. Thank you for watching.